Good morning, Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. Good morning to you.
How are you today?
Hey, I woke up breathing. It's all good after that.
Amen. Right. Um,
Yeah.
so today on the show we have Reginald Martin. He is the creator of now, pardon me if I mispronounce it, Kametaphysics and Paradoxical Heka.
Kametaphysics and Paradoxical Heka. Yes.
Okay. Anything goes here. Swearing, drinking, smoking. Um, just tell us your story.
Yeah. So for me, it's been a journey of just really about self development. So how I've developed paradoxical and metaphysics is just through the journey of really becoming who I am. And a lot of times it's gone through life's difficulties. I grew up in a religious household. Staunchly religious, staunchly Christian, and I had a lot of questions about it that a lot of times people just couldn't answer for me. I was that kid that's like, why? Well, this is this. Well, why? Well, this and this. Why? That was me. But it really started to I started to recognize that just a lot of the stuff that I was being taught through religion really ended up causing a lot of the issues that we have when we're talking about our mentalities. Because we really operate. Religion taught us, and not just religion itself, but even in our society, there's this underpinning of we're broken. Something's wrong with us, and we need to be fixed. Okay. Um, but from the Kemetic perspective, and Kemet is just the ancient Egyptian spiritual system that was really prehistoric Egypt. Okay, so that's what Kemet is. But it actually is where Christianity developed from. Okay, so you can go back to ancient Kemet and see what these ideas were before they were distorted as religion. Okay, so from an ancient Kemetic perspective, we're not born sinful, we're not born broken, we're not unworthy. We are born divine. We're born whole. Okay, that's the operating system that was before religion. That if you're born whole and divine, you're not broken. You can be out of alignment. You can be off balance, you know, but you're not broken. So the whole idea is what can you do when you do find yourself out of alignment? What do you do to get back in alignment? So that's what metaphysics and paradoxical Heka is about, getting us back in alignment and really rerouting our identities from a system of brokenness, an ontology of brokenness, to an ontology of wholeness. So you basically use you as your source self, as the baseline that you operate from in life.
That's even a little bit like empowering to hear it that way. The chemetaphysics,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay, chemetaphysics way, rather than you are full of sin, all that. Because I can relate to being brought up in a religious household and them almost using it as I don't know how to say this, like a way to control or a way to um yeah, basically a way to control and make you
Yeah.
feel some type of way.
Yeah,
So
and
when
it's
you
definitely it's based on fear, based on coercion, So that's the whole system is to basically keep you in line, to basically get you to do whatever they needed you to do, you know. But it's a foundation that many of us suffer from, and in a lot of cases, neurosis becomes a normalized system within this religious frame, you know. So it teaches us to think of ourselves as something is wrong with us.
I think a lot of people can relate to that's how they were raised, because I think generations before us, that's how they were raised as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and our parents, they taught us what they knew. But in a lot of cases, we've never ever had the ability to really fact check what Christianity and what these systems have done. And through the Kemetic system, it is a way to go through and fact check it, because you can see where the ancient systems, they developed from the idea of wholeness. In other words, the idea that we are the creator, basically an extension of it in human form. We're not different from it. We're just a different magnitude, so to speak. And I like to use the idea of, or an analogy to explain their concept of it was, is like like if the creator is an ocean of consciousness, then we are all drops within that ocean. Okay. So if we are all drops in the ocean, then that means we have to be the same thing as the ocean. And then the ocean has to be within every drop. One cannot be separate from the other. But from a religious perspective, we're taught that we're somehow different. It's said even biblically that we're made in the image of God, but then you go back and everything is being taught to you that you're somehow different. You're not in the image. It's even sinful and prideful to even relate yourself or to equate yourself to that idea. So it becomes a whole system that basically pushes you down and makes you, consider yourself in a way that it's about self-loathing. It's about not really appreciating the wonderful being that you are. And all of us have gifts, but they might not all look like everybody else's. But a lot of times there's something that we might have that have been told that it's broken, but in reality, it's just another side of a gift that we have that we just need to develop.
I love that. I love that so much. Um, what was I gonna say? Shoot, I forgot. Oh, how old were you when you felt the shift and you got into developing
So I asked my first question, Wanda, when I was 15 years old. Okay. So it
Hell
was,
yeah.
yeah. So when we come, a lot of times, and you'll find a lot of, especially a lot of the children coming in today, they're already turned on to this stuff. They already realize that these systems are not right, you know. But I started to asking questions. I was 15. That's when I started to ask questions. Now, when I started to think it, it was earlier, you know. But my first question was, if a good person that is not a believer does good all their life, and then you have a bad person, let's just say, and I just take it to an extreme, just say person is a mass murderer, and then on their deathbed they decide that they're going to accept Jesus as their savior. The good person that's done bad all their life that does not believe go to hell, but the bad person that's done bad all their life and then switches right at the end goes to heaven. And I remember asking my mother that, and I said, "Could that be true?" And she just looked at me and goes, "Yep." End of conversation. But Wanda, that tore me up. I mean, I'm thinking to myself like, how can this be? Something's not right about it. And then the next phase was, as I got older, life just starts to happening to you.
Oh yeah.
Life starts lifing. you
Yes.
know, so I'm going through all of this stuff, and so the question that I really started to ask deep down was, man, how do I get my prayers answered? You know, because I'm watching people who's not towing the line, so to speak, who's not following all the rules. They're getting their prayers answered. They're getting what they want, the life that they want. But I'm not perfect, but I'm kind of towing the line. But things are not happening like they're supposed to. So that just made me start to question even more. It's like, okay, they're not following the rules, but they're living okay. I am, and I'm not. So what you're telling me just doesn't add up. Okay, so that started me again just to start researching because I wanted some control. I'm a Scorpio, so Scorpios like control. So I like, so how can I get my life in order and me have some control over that? Because obviously people got their prayers answered whether they will follow the rules or not. But I was and I couldn't. So it started making me think in the terms of the science of metaphysics. So that's where I came into Kametaphysics and started to developing that over the years in Paradoxical Heka.
What is metaphysics?
So metaphysics is essentially just a philosophy of spirituality.
Okay. See, I
So
didn't know
that's
that.
one way you can look at it. It's just any, in other words, meta means above, and above the physical. So which is what we would call spirituality, but it doesn't have the religious connotation to it.
Okay.
Okay,
And
Ka
what is
metaphysics is basically
Yeah.
the ancient Egyptian idea of the soul.
Okay.
Okay,
Damn. And that was all
so
at
so I
15 that
call it the
you
soul level operating system.
and that was all at 15 that you started researching that.
When I was 15, I started. Well, probably when I started researching, I ended up going to a Bible college. I got a scholarship, basketball scholarship. I started researching then, and
Okay.
I've been researching ever since.
That's very interesting. Beautiful. Um so how does paradoxical Heka help someone hold I feel broken and I am whole at the same time?
So, and that's one of the keys. So what I figured out, Wanda, was that a lot of times we are taught to, and let's just think of this in the context of Jungian psychology, where we talk about the shadow and the light. You know, our shadow self and light self. You know, or good and bad. And if we're talking Christianity, you know, you got the evil self and the good self, or you know, you're good or evil, one or the other. You know, but just light and dark. So what a lot of times what ends up happening is that we are told that we need to fight or you know, overcome this so-called shadow self. Okay, but that ends up making you an adversary to your own development because you're fighting yourself. Okay, but from the ancient Kemetic perspective, every possibility is a validity, is a valid experience. Okay, so it means, so from a paradoxical perspective, a paradox means that it's this and that, not this or that. We operate in most of society from this or that. Okay, so you end up fighting yourself when in reality the shadow is actually an aspect of you. Okay, so let's just say, for instance, we might deal with fears and we might deal with our anxieties and stuff like that. I mean, I know I do, you know,
Oh yeah.
and we usually try to say, yeah, we try to say affirmations. We try to do all of these things to like push that fear down or push it to the side. Okay,
All the things.
but from a paradoxical Heka perspective, what this is about is you actually honor that shadow side because you end up using it really as the fuel for your transformation. And I'll just give you an example of how that works, you know, just verbally. So, but it is an actual systematic process that I'm talking about here. But say, for instance, I might deal with fears around money and you know, paying my bills at the end of the month and stuff like that. Okay, all of us go, you know, well, I won't say all of
Relatable.
us. A lot of us go through that. Okay, it's relatable. So I might say something like, even though I have this fear that I might run out of money, I honor that fear and recognize that the universe does provide for me.
I love that.
That's the paradox. Because it's true. Because you can look back on your life, and I know for me, and see when I thought all things were lost, these miracles happened. The unexplainable that just caught me. Okay, I wonder. I've had that happen so many times that I mean I could spend an hour talking about it. Okay, but I won't do that. but that in that sense, that's the paradox. I honor the fear, which is honoring part of me, but I also attach it to the eternal or the grounded eternal aspect of me. That's the key. One of the keys here. Okay. So I attach it to something that is permanent, which is from a Kemetic perspective, we are all souls having a human experience. Okay. We're not trying to get to being a soul, because most systems teach us that becoming soulful is an aspiration. But from a Kemetic perspective, you are a soul already. All you need to do is recognize it and tune into it. Okay. So from that perspective, so paradoxical Heka, it uses breath, and when I'm speaking that paradox, I'm using breath. Breath is conscious. The breath that we breathe, the air, the universe is conscious. So when I speak that paradox, it's literally tuning my energetic field. Okay. So the way the ancients, the of an energetic, there are 9 parts of our being that are all based on energy. The body is just one of those. But the breath is the thing that is able to move between both worlds. So when I speak Heka, Heka is the idea that there is this magical source that creates the universe. Biblically, you might have heard about it in the idea of, in the beginning was the Word. It was John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So in order to speak a word, what must happen? Your vocal cords must vibrate. So in that sense, it's saying that the entire universe is vibrational. So when you speak, you're literally speaking the magic. You're speaking, and you're speaking the ability to create. So when you're breathing that paradox, you're literally tuning your field through your conscious intention. So I'm getting into some deep metaphysical manifestation science here.
It's crazy because the very first guest I had on my podcast was talking about operating at hertz, electromagnetic force, things like that, operating at a vibration. And that was the first time I ever heard anything like that. And she said that's very common. And I didn't know how to relate to her and ask her questions. And you're probably the third person that's brought it up. And it's unique. It's interesting.
Yeah, and see, but one of this is how we make this, and what I like to do is make it practical, okay? Because I cannot stand woo woo spirituality, and what I call woo woo, yeah, what I call woo woo is that it's this great, the stupendous, people use these what I call word salads, but when you analyze them, it's like, what does that mean? What do I do with that? Okay, that's where a lot of us end up. Okay, but this is the thing, and this is how you integrate this. And so when I was saying earlier that you connect to your essence self, okay, that permanent self, the way you do that is through your emotional states. Your emotional states are translation of the universal of the universe and its vibration. So when you feel good, you are aligned with your eternal self. When you feel bad, you're misaligned. It's that simple. Okay? So that's how you can keep on track to know that if you are living life and you are aligned with your soul self, life is magical. But when you're misaligned, you're trying to force, you're becoming your adversary, you're doing all those type things. So, but when you're aligned, like you might not know what your purpose is today, but if you're just living in alignment, you're going to end up stumbling over it, you know? So live life from your joy, live life through your joy, and life will just unfold in the way that is magical and the way that you want and need for you.
This is so, I don't know what the word is, reinforcing, because I'm going through something like that right now. And I don't know how to explain it without being too detailed. Just just you're hitting all the marks, because I'm going through something, and this could happen or this could happen, and I do feel misaligned because I followed something that I don't believe in order to make this thing try to happen, when I should have just let it be and let it roll out the way it was supposed to. Because when I do that, it seems like things come up where I'm able to afford this thing that I'm going through on, just like you've hit all the marks. And it's crazy because I had therapy this morning, and I was like telling her how guilty I feel and how awful I feel, and you're just hitting all the marks.
Yeah, yeah. No, and Wanda, believe me, I've dealt with that. I've dealt with all of that. So what I'm talking about, I'm an old man. I'm 63 years old. So what I'm talking about is stuff that again, lifes.
Yes, and
Okay,
it's
this is not
relatable. Like I can
theoretical. It's the
relate to
things
it,
that
and
I've
it's
had to
not a
deal with.
bunch of woo woo like spirit like Christianity. It's not. I'm full of questions. It's relatable, and you're hitting all the marks. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I needed, because when life is lifing, and I like to say, when life is kicking your ass, you need something that you can hold on to, and something simple that can get you back grounded.
Yeah, I just call it my higher power, because I don't I don't want to not believe in God, because of the way I was raised, and I'm scared to not believe in God because I feel like something bad will happen to me. But I can't I can't align with all the beliefs and the not the conspiracies, but the contradictions. And um so I just refer to it as my higher power.
Yeah, yeah, and believe me, I understand. So and I've coached people, for years, that are coming through that transition, so to speak, of, you're not really attuned with the dogma, because that's really what it comes down to. It's the dogma that a lot of us just don't agree with, because it ends up separating us in humanity, you know. But there is the idea that, you don't have to believe in God, because you are. And if you go back to the ancient philosophy, they talk about the light, they talk about the spark, they talk about all of that the spark that dispersed into and as the universe. You are that. You are the ocean in a drop. You are a drop that's in the ocean. So you don't have to believe, just know.
Damn, you're good. Yeah.
This is the thing, is that but this is what I'm hearing from you, is that you already know, but it's the programming that is keeping you tied to the fear. You already know. You already feel it. And that's what's real. What you feel is real. But what we have been programmed with ends up tuning us to something that is outside of ourselves. Most of us have been told that the power to create, that all the power that we have, is that we have to placate and make supplications to something from that's outside of us. That was never the ancient teachings. That's the one thing that Christianity changed from all other systems. If you check into all other systems, the other than the Abrahamic systems, I put it like that, then you will find that the journey of becoming is about the realization, recognizing of that spark within ourselves. It's about remembering. You know what the ancients call that? Remembering? Resurrection.
Okay.
Okay? The resurrection was about you remembering that you are a soul in human form. And you have the power to create your life. You, as a goddess in training, have the power to create your life as you desire. You just got to remember your power.
I love all that. That's a lot of deep stuff, deep realizations, deep stuff. And you just got me
It's
you
deep.
got me
And
thinking.
I mean, it's like, woo!
Yeah, like I want to learn more. Um and you said you coach people?
Yes, yes. So I have a coaching program, and I coach teachers and practitioners to, because this is a lot of times it's very deep in the sense that it can be very detailed, but it's giving people the ability to ground themselves in something that is practical and something that is teachable and
Yeah, and
something
something
that you
that's going to
can
follow
learn
them
and
their
use
whole
for
life.
yourself.
Like
Bingo,
they're going to be able to use
bingo.
it for the
It
rest of
it
their life.
Yes, yes, and so often we would, as Christians, it's like we had to look at life and spirituality as something separate from each other. It's like we had to live two different things. On
Yeah,
Sunday, you
pretty
became,
much.
you holy hooped and hollered. At least in my churches, we hooped and hollered, you know. But then on Monday, you went back doing the same shit you did every day before the next Sunday.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was different than how you were supposed to be living on Sunday, you know, or how you're supposed to be living your life. But from the ancient perspective, life is your tuning ground for your spiritual self. It is through life that you become more wise and you become more attuned to who you are energetically, because it is life that's going to teach you. It's life that's going to throw you off your path, and you got to figure out how to get back. That's part of the training.
Okay. I feel you.
So life is not separate from spirituality. It is spirituality. I don't care what you're doing.
So your is that your website where we can learn more under your name, or what's
Yes.
okay?
Yeah, so that's my my newsletter and website. So
Oh, you have a newsletter?
reginaldmartin.substack.com. Yeah, that's when they
Good.
go to there, you can sign up, and I'm always publishing articles, and then you can also get into my classes and courses that I teach. So I have a whole suite of content and that actually helps people move through that transition, through moves through and really becoming more and more of who you are, because again, it's about being this and that. The creator is this and that. That means it's you too. Okay? So that's the paradox of the universe. Everything is a valid experience, and we don't have to create ourselves as an adversary.
How long did you go to college for?
Let's say I graduated. Took me what, 5 years? I graduated, so double major in psychology and business management.
Damn.
But I was playing basketball the whole way through. So
Okay, okay. That's fair. You're very relatable. You're very grounded.
hey, I've had to be, because life has kicked my ass, so I can't get all highfalutin.
Yes. Yes. Um What's the difference between healing that's sustainable versus healing that's situational?
Oh, I love that question because it really comes down to the idea of ontology. Okay, so the idea of ontology is just who we're being. It's an ancient the ancient philosophy of being. So a lot of times when we get into our modes of healing that we operate from our societal ways, we operate from the perspective that we're broken. Okay, that is a framework that you're operating in. So no matter what you do, it's like you can go to therapy, you can go to doing church, whatever you might be for your healing. But if you stay in that frame, it's like you've been given a frame, or us, we've been given a frame that is has an operating system that has malware in it, in a sense. So that negative programming is the malware. But if you try to heal within that system, all you're doing is putting apps on top of the system that has the malware in it. It's not sustainable. The healing is not sustainable. So that's where, with the Kemetic way of thinking and the old ancient spirituality, you change the whole operating system from I'm broken to I'm whole, to I'm divine. So when you build something on top of that, then it sticks. So if the system, the whole system says you're broken, whatever you do is essentially a temporary fix because that brokenness is going to infect whatever it is that you do.
Yes. Thank you.
So that's what. So switching to an understanding that you are whole and that you are divine, that's a totally different frame. Once you operate in that frame, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get off balance. But once you figure out how to take care and realign, it it sticks for you.
I like that, and I like the comparison you made with the malware because that made it more able to picture. Because I am like in and out with like what you're talking about. It's so relatable, but a lot of it is above my understanding, and so when you, yeah, when you explain it like that, I'm able to reconnect.
Yeah, yeah, no, and that's why I'm an old school teacher, so I know how it works. So I have to bring it back to something that's relatable. I get that for sure.
Thank you.
That's again that's why I don't like the woo woo stuff because it's way up here, and if we can't understand it, what's the point? So,
Um, and some of these questions, like I'm just going down the list because I use Copilot a lot to help me figure out questions too. Like sometimes when we get talking, questions will just come up and I'll know what it is, but also a lot of the time it's above my understanding, so I type it into Copilot and it gives me questions. So excuse me if you've already answered some of these, but what does sovereignty look like in a moment of relapse or self doubt?
no, that's a great question because sovereignty just basically means is that you are the ruler of who you are. Okay, you are a sovereign soul, so there's nothing outside of you that dictates to you. So in moments of instability, and I have to put it in context again to religion. Okay, so that's a lot of times that helps people understand is that when we with religion we were essentially told we were powerless unless God gave us the okay. He gave us a check mark
Yeah.
in a sense. Okay. From a sovereign perspective, you're not looking for something outside yourself to intercede for you. You're looking to understand the science of how you become the creator of your reality. You're looking for how you can manifest what you desire in your life. So, in that sense, you become the sovereign soul of your own experience.
Okay. um You've said, I don't know if this is true. You've said grief shifts faster when paradox is embraced. Can you walk us through that shift in real time?
Yeah, so when we're talking about grief, and this is really what I call the human architecture of, or the architecture of human transformation. If you think about it, so after I talk about this, just you can go back and think about the times that you've actually had to shift and reconcile things. So in this context, grief is we say like we had a loved one, we might have a loved one that has passed away, and we're really grieving, that loved one. We miss them, and that's natural and normal. And a lot of times people will grieve for years because they just feel like, man, they've lost this person. They don't know how to operate without this person. They're dealing with, whatever they're dealing with. That can go for years that can happen. But anybody that ever comes through the grief, there's a process that everybody goes through.
Yeah.
And it's the paradox that people go through. And this is what I mean, is that you might, at some point, you might be grieving, but then at another point, in order to move past that grief, you recognize that there's something joyful that you can remember about that person too, and the joy that you had with them. Okay? And in those moments that you recognize the joy, you're literally holding the grief and the joy all in the same idea. And then your subconscious has to reconcile that up into what the joy is. It connects you to the higher vibrational aspect of joy. So in that moment, you literally spontaneously done paradoxical Heka, in that you reconciled the grief and brought yourself into understanding and peace when you bring both joy and grief together. Okay? Now, my question is, did that take years to happen, or did it happen instantly? Now, I will say this. You went through the grief, and I'm saying you, but I'm just saying us as people. We go through the grief for years. But the paradox, the reconciliation happens in an instant.
Yeah.
With paradoxical Heka, you can engineer that. Rather than waiting on that spontaneous happening, now there is a process that you can literally engineer that I don't like to call it healing, but that's what happens. I call it reconciliation. You engineer that reconciliation in an instant, when you can get to what you're really dealing with, and then what you want to have happen in your life, what you want to deal with. So you dealt with the grief, but then you want to come to joy. Let's engineer that. Okay, and that's what I've created with that process, is that you can engineer, and this is why it can work so great for practitioners and stuff like that, because there's identifiable markers to know when this is actually working. For example, Wanda, have you ever had a situation where you felt chills? You had something happening, and it's like, wow, you felt chills come over you.
Yeah, the other day when I was talking to Dr. Jen, and she was talking about, no, it was yesterday or the day before, when somebody was talking about schizophrenia, and she was talking about the way that her kids ground her rather than burden her and her diagnosis.
Okay, was that a good feeling for you or negative?
It was good.
Yes. Right then and there, that marked a paradox that you recognized, and you physically registered it in your body. When you create the paradox, when you create paradoxical Heka, that's a marker to let you know that you shifted. A lot of people have no idea that that's what's happening.
No, I didn't. I know that.
You ever had it happen when you listen to music?
Sense. What's that?
You ever had it happen when you listen to music?
Probably. Nothing that comes to mind, but probably.
Like you hear a good song, and then, man, somebody hits that note, and you go like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in those moments, music is like a micro paradoxical ritual. So in that moment that you feel that shiver, that chill, science calls it frisson, Frisson. So they have a name for it. Neurologically, what's happening is your nervous system is literally it's recalibrating in that moment that you feel that chill.
Interesting.
But most times, what's happening is that people, we don't consciously know what's happening, so it just
No.
scatters away.
Yeah.
Okay? But if you consciously, but now I'm letting you know that consciously what's happening with that, you can capture that. You can you can literally say an intention or have an intention for letting that feeling tune you. It's
Can you give
tuning
like an
your
example of
energetic
that?
system.
Like, what would be an example of an intention?
So you just saying, I'm feeling this chill. I know that it is a positive thing that my system is tuning. So
Okay.
allow that to tune my system.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You are literally in that moment using Heka, where you are directing your consciousness. You're using your will to direct consciousness. Your intentions are the remote control for consciousness. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Okay? You literally can speak and frame the energy for yourself to use it the way you want to use it in your body, in your existence.
That's
This is what a
powerful.
lot of people it is. This is what a lot of people do that they don't realize, that they literally use intentions to negatively program themselves. Just even today, I was writing about this on Substack, is that a lot of times what we'll do is say, man, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
When you make that statement, you are literally directing your consciousness to go and look for the things that can confirm what's wrong with you.
Yes.
Okay? Let's shift that. So let's move away from what's wrong with me and from the ontology of brokenness. So let's go to the ancient system, where instead of saying what's wrong with me, what is this teaching me?
Ooh.
What is the signal that this is giving me? Where is it coming from and what is it about that's telling me that I am misaligned? That's a totally different frame.
Yes.
And you will start to get down what I call downloads from your higher self. It might be pictures, they might be words, it might be a feeling in you, but it shifts you and opens you to something that can be wondrous to reprogram you
Wow.
in a positive way.
Okay. I can get on to that. I'm definitely gonna subscribe
Yeah.
to your newsletter after this. Definitely, because this is very relatable, knowledgeable, and it makes sense. It just makes sense.
You feel it. And this is what I like to say about something, what's happening with you right now, is when your rational mind and your intuitive mind come together and they harmonize, it feels like common sense.
Yes.
That's what's happening. You hear something rationally, but you feel it in here. And it just seems like it is true for you.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And a lot of times, if I go back to religion, because that was how I was taught and brought up, a lot of times we are taught to mistrust our own intuition.
Oh yeah.
We're taught to lean not on our own understanding. Okay? Those are some Bible verses that
Yeah.
I was taught. Okay? Yeah. So you literally short circuit your ability to even gain common sense from the spiritual knowledge when you don't trust your own self. You're trusting you. And when you trust you, that's when the beauty and the magic can happen. Woo!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm so glad to have you on because not this is like a not a touchy subject, but people have a hard time challenging, their beliefs and the way they were raised. And I'm so glad that you're having this conversation, especially with me, because I struggle with it a lot. There's a lot of
No, and
valuable
you are
information.
that's natural and normal. Yeah, because Wanda, think about it. They've had 2,000 years to practice their psychological warfare on us, on billions of people. They know what to do to lock us into that fear, that system of fear and guilt and shame.
How old is metaphysics, or like the
Oh, probably as old as
Egyptian?
humanity.
Okay, which one's older, religion or?
A lot of the religion came from the Christian religion came from Egyptian spirituality. So Egyptian spirituality has been around for thousands of years. So the idea of the Christ was actually around 10,000 years before Christianity in ancient
Okay,
Egypt. Yeah.
interesting.
But Christianity learned those ideas and then created the religion from them,
Okay.
but they distorted them.
Yes.
So everything that's biblical came from ancient Egypt. It was their ancient mystery system teachings that they basically distorted. For example, even the idea of hell. So we think about, because I was listening to you earlier saying that you have this fear, and it's the fear of wondering if they were right, and if they were right, then I'm going to go to hell,
Yes.
for eternity. Okay,
Yeah, and I feel like
but
bad things will happen to me if I don't believe.
right, but Wanda, this is where the idea of hell, Christianity actually flipped. From an ancient Kemetic perspective, the idea is the idea that the lake of fire is where souls are born.
Hmm,
In other words, we're all sparks
okay.
of the original source. So if we're all sparks of that fire, it's not where we end up, it's where we started.
Damn.
Yeah,
Wow, that really flips the script.
yeah, it does. And they flipped it. It's like this is, and I mean, if you don't mind, I can go into some more of that if you want. I mean, it's man.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just reading off
Okay.
of.
So let's talk about the idea of the crucifixion. They flipped that because the crucifixion is the idea of the four elements, metaphorical elements, needed for a soul to cross over into the physical realm. So when we're talking about a crucifixion, the death is actually about each and every one of us, because when you forget who you are, the ancients metaphorically stated that that was the death. So your forgetting is the death, not a physical death. Forgetting who you are as a soul is the original death. Okay, but then as you cross over into the physical, and you can use the. Do you have? Can I share an image with you? Is this?
Um, I'm not
Let's
sure,
see.
to be honest.
Yeah, I got a. I see a presentation thing down here.
Oh, cool.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. But what I was going to show you was like I was going to give you a diagram that shows you how the journey of the sun becomes the metaphor for the journey of the soul. That's how the ancients taught it. So when the soul goes below the horizon, that's the crucifixion. The soul was metaphorically, the soul metaphorically, or the son metaphorically died. But it goes through the dark night of the soul. Okay? But then at some point, it resurrects and comes back into the light again. Okay? I just explained the idea of the autumn equinox, Christmas,
Okay.
and then Easter.
Okay. Okay.
Those holidays are the Halloween, the Christmas, and Easter are all ancient what do I call it? Ancient metaphors and festivals that talk about the journey of the soul. But what Christianity did was put the death and the resurrection 3 days apart. That's not even natural. The ancients used nature to explain us because we are nature in human form.
Yes, I believe that.
So
Wow.
yeah, I mean it's and man, I've taught. Whew, I created a course to help people that to explain all the philosophy and all of that, so that you can shift, you know. And it's just it's really about helping a person reframe themselves from the ontology of brokenness to know that you are a whole divine being, just living as a human.
I love that. I love that so much. Um, it says, can you share a 90-second practice that listeners can try during tough moments?
Yeah. So that probably won't even take that long. So let's use paradoxical Heka. So
Okay.
this is a systematic way of doing it. Okay. So first you want to do is you want to get into a position where you're sitting or standing if you want, and put your feet firmly on the ground. Okay. And then what you want to do is you want to ground yourself into your heart center. And how you do that is you use your breath. You use 3 breaths. Okay. And you just breathe. You go breathe in through the nose and then let it out through the mouth. Okay. So 3 breaths, and then you are intending to get heart centered. Okay. So that's one. That's two. That's three. Now let's set the intention that I am open to recalibrating my system, my energetic system, and just state that intention.
I am open to
Recalibrating
recalibrating
my energetic system.
my energetic system.
Now, you just directed your energy to what you want it to do now. Okay? Now, what you want to do now is just state a paradox within it, because what you did is you just created a container, a frame for your energy to operate in. Okay? If we do this right, you should probably feel a little chill. Okay? If we did this right. Okay? So, let's see, what the paradox can be, um, even though I have this fear that I might get it wrong, I honor that fear and recognize that I am a soul having a human experience.
Even though I have this fear, I recognize,
I honor it
I honor it,
and recognize that I am a soul having a human experience.
I recognize that I'm a soul having a human experience.
Okay? So then you can take your deep breath, put your hand over your heart, or put both hands over your heart. Okay? And then breathe in and let it out. Okay? And now you can say, now my soul, now my system is tuned and I am in balance.
Now my system is tuned and I am in balance.
There you go.
I gotta chill with the first couple sentences that
There you
I don't
go.
remember. I don't remember what they were, but because
You don't even have to. You thought them.
okay, okay.
Seriously. Because you can start to read it and you'll get the chill.
Yeah,
Because
it's
in your
real, guys.
mind,
It's
the
fucking real.
sound is not the sound is not necessarily, it doesn't have to be audible. Because if you think about it, there's sounds that we can't hear. A dog can hear a dog whistle that we can't. So there are sounds that can go beyond our human ears. So it doesn't have to be audible. So when you thought it, you were already moving into the paradox.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
Hot damn.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. But that chill lets you know that it was working.
I'm gonna recognize that now, and I'm gonna think, Reginald.
And when you feel that chill, grab it. Set an intention around it right when you feel it.
Okay.
That directs it and that actually helps you.
I think I might look into your courses because this is something that can help with your whole, just the whole life. And I'm still,
Yes.
I'm a little bit young. I still have my whole life ahead of me. Like, better to learn it now than realize it later.
Let me tell you this. You will realize it later at some point. But either you can get beat up like me, because I can tell you, I've had my ass kicked 6 ways to Sunday by life.
Amen. Yeah.
Okay? So this is how and why it motivated me to really produce and come up with these things that I've come up with and study these ancient texts and ancient ways that they do it. You know, they even have had it in symbolism, but we kind of get the shorthand. You know the medical symbol with the two snakes, the two serpents, the caduceus, the two
Does it have a
serpents and the
cross in it
wings.
too?
It has wings at the top and then a circle.
Okay.
Okay, but that is the process of paradoxical Heka
Okay.
symbolized.
Okay. Have you won any awards for this? Because I feel like you deserve
No, no
some type
awards.
of award.
No,
Well, you get
most
the
people
Wanda
probably still don't
Award.
even know about this. Well,
That's
thank you.
crazy. One of these days, I feel like this is. I'm not lying. I feel like this is like a Nobel Peace Prize because
Oh
you're.
wow,
Yeah, you're really
you just gave me
changing.
chills.
You're changing the game here for people because there's so many people that struggle with this. Not only is there so many people that struggle with this, there's so many people that are scared to challenge those beliefs. So I really feel like this is Nobel Peace Prize worthy.
Wow, thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you're very welcome and thank you for being on the show. Like really. And this, like I said, you were hitting all the marks, especially today with things I have going on, and I just got chills again. The things that I have going on, the things I'm going
Grab
through,
it,
and
grab
you
it.
really you really helped me.
Thank you. I'm glad I
Is there
was, sis.
anything is there any final thoughts or anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to cover?
I would like to leave you with one thing, and this is what I say to you and your audience. Live life on your fucking terms. Do not wait for people to tell you who and how to be. When you live life on your terms, you will find that peace within yourself, not to conform to the rules of what society says you need to be and who you need to be. Live life on your terms and follow your joy. Let joy, that feeling, be your guide. Let that be where it leads you down your path.
Preach. I love that so much. I love that so much. Thank you again for being here, and you can come back anytime.
Thank
Anytime.
you. You just let me
You're
know when.
welcome. Have a great day. I hope something amazing happens to you.
Hey, it already has. I woke up breathing.
There you go. Take care,
All right,
Reginald.
Wanda.